So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Satisfactory. So last time around, we finished off the absolute basics of Phase 5. We got some stuff unlocked, and we have the ability to make the highest tier of belts. So now, we are going to make synthetic power shards, because a lot of the stuff we are going to be doing is going to require a lot of refineries to make, and it would just be a whole lot easier if I could overclock them without having to worry about it. So I think that is going to be our goal today. So we have synthetic power shards here, and we have time crystals, dark matter crystals, quartz crystals, and excited photonic matter. So the dark matter crystals you make with diamonds and dark matter residue, which you either make by recycling some stuff or by doing some reanimated SAM to dark matter. Now, I believe that the amount of dark matter that this outputs, so this outputs 60 dark matter residue per minute, and it needs 10 dark matter crystals per minute. And if this is going at 10, then that's 50 dark matter residue per minute. So we just need to add the diamonds in, or whatever else is used to make those. And we also have to do a bunch of hard drive scans because we've unlocked some stuff. So we just need to add a little bit extra in. Alright, so that just unlocked pink diamonds. Can we rescan you? No, we cannot. There ought to be some more stuff, right? Some alt recipes for this. I think we have to start scanning now. But in the meantime, let's figure out what else we need for these. So we're going to be doing a regular old mega scale production. So we're going to want to have 50 power shards per minute, which is going to be 100 time crystals, which is a lot. That is a lot of time crystals. So it's going to be 200 diamonds, which is going to be, let's see, 1,000 crude oil or some other ratios of some other parts, which we might want to use. We're going to need a lot of time crystals for everything in here, right? So neural quantum processors need time crystals directly, and power shards need time crystals. And actually I can just scroll down here. What else is there? Superposition oscillators don't require time crystals, but we're going to need, let's see, is it just those two? No, there's one more thing that I haven't unlocked that needs time crystals. And then there's also that apparently the dark matter needs some diamonds, unless we can find an alt recipe for them, which hopefully we will be able to do. So we're going to need a whole lot of time crystals. A lot of time crystals. How's this crude oil? That's a bunch of impures and a couple normals. Let's see, I think we can kind of work with that. But it's actually not that much, right? So normals, I believe, are max overclocked to 300, so that's 600. So that's 900 total, which isn't even enough for one thing, much less both. Those guys are impure. These guys are, I believe, impure. We're using those ones, and there's no others. So we might wind up... Okay, well, there are these ones, but those are 1 pure and 2 Yeah, so that isn't ideal. Coal might be easier to wrangle. Like, we've got a pure node down here and a whole bunch of these other guys. And then if we go up, where else is there coal? These look like normals. Those are normals. Just looking for, like, if I had two pure nodes right next to each other, that would be great. So that's the coal that I was looking at. I haven't scanned this top left area, really. So I should just head up there and put a radar down. And I will just take the hypertube cannon for that. So we swap to the jetpack, and let's go flying over. Alright, over we go. Over we go. And let's see, somewhere central-ish. So how about like here? So we can land here and then get a bit more foundation out here away from this factory. What factory even is this? Is this modular frames? Yes, this is the modular frames factory. Okay, so then we go to organization, radar tower, pop you down. Alright, so this coal looks like I've mostly used it. And also there's not that much of it anyways. So those are a bunch of normal nodes. Now pure nodes, like these ones. Alright, so these ones are pure nodes, but I haven't been able to use them to their fullest extent because I haven't had the belts for that, for max overclocked pure nodes. So I should be able to get that. Let's head over there and see just how much is even there. See how much spare coal there is so that we can figure out if that's going to be enough. And we're just gonna like crunch it down into diamonds and then deal with like a drone system to load them up and send them somewhere. Because that would be easier. Alright. That would be easier to transport than having to transport a huge amount of coal everywhere. So up we go. And where was this spot? Further this way. Okay. I think we might have actually even just seen it as we were flying over. I didn't register it at the time. Now if I'm lucky, this will be a coal power plant, which I can just entirely disable. And then get 3 pure nodes of coal. If I'm not lucky, then it might be an actual factory, which I want to keep around. Alright. So it should be somewhere in here, right? It was right by a SAM, I remember. Yes. So, we've got these guys back here. Alright, so what are you powering? And also, these are minor Mark IIs, so that's pretty cool. We can upgrade those. Oh, they're powering that whole factory over there. Okay, that is a bit annoying. But they don't look like they're going very fast. So that's 240 each. Okay, no, that's 270. and this one is 270. It's apparently not going at 100%, so that's interesting. But we can make this much, much faster. So, first of all, minor Mark 3s to all of you. I don't know where that other one is even coming from. Alright, so you're a minor Mark 3. You two are minor Mark 3s already. Alright, so that is a lot more production. Now we can power shard them up to 1200. And we just need a smart splitter with center overflow and then take all the rest. No, it needs to be center any left overflow. The exact opposite of what I did. So now we have that belt, and we can get another splitter on here and do the same thing. Set you up to Mark 6 and max speed. And then we can go over here and we got a MAM research finished. Hopefully it's something useful. Okay, it is dark matter crystallization, dark matter trap. So we need both of those, annoyingly. So let's just take one and then... Okay, it won't scan, so we don't have enough new options. So then let's take, I don't know, pink diamonds or something. And now, if we rescan you, we can take dark matter crystallization. And that should be all good. And no more hard drives to scan. So, are any of the rest of these potentially useful? Not especially. Alright, we can be fine without them. So, you go all the way up to 1200. And you get a smart splitter and a super fast belt, which takes the overflow off of you. So there we go. And that one is set up. This one needs to be finished. So that needs to become a smart splitter. And we need that to be an overflow output. Alright, so that is a whole bunch of coal. Now, if we want to make diamonds, how much coal do we need? It's like 600 to 30. That is awful. So, what can we do to make that better? If we add in quartz crystals, it makes it a little bit better. I mean, we have this coal, we might as well use it, but it's not going to give us all that much. So turbo diamonds are coal plus turbo fuel, and it's a much better ratio. Cloudy diamonds are coal plus limestone. I don't know, let's just take them. We have the hard drives for this. There we go, and then we are going to want to send off another scan. So, diamonds. We have all the alt recipes for this now, right? So, how many diamonds did we need? Let's see. let's think about both of these combined, because we need... I wanted to just make the diamonds all in one batch and then not worry about it. So, the neural quantum processor, which is our next step and the next thing which needs time crystals, we're going to need 150 time crystals. Then, the power shards, the thing we're currently working on, is going to need 100 time crystals. So we need 250 time crystals. Plus, I don't know, whatever it is that, like, some project part probably needs them too. But for now, we're going to go with 250. So, 250 time crystals. And actually, we're going to need some spare, right? Because dark matter crystals, like, we have this is a good ratio. And let's see, the diamonds are 1 diamond to 1 dark matter crystal. The time crystals are effectively the same ratio, but you get a better dark matter residue ratio, so that's handy. So we're going to need some time crystals for that as well. How much? 30 per minute gives you 60. So, this produces dark matter, don't need to worry about it. And the power shards. Power shards we want to be doing here. And they are going to need 100 dark matter crystals per minute. So we need 100 dark matter crystals a minute for the power shards, and we're going to need another 300 dark matter crystals a minute for the superposition oscillators. So that's 400 dark matter crystals per minute, which some of that will be offset by dark matter crystallization, but, like, because we are going to be producing enough dark matter residue to be able to do that, but if we go to what was I thinking? I was about to think of something. So we need like 400 dark matter crystals per minute, which in terms of this would be another 200 time crystals. So we need, like, at most 450 time crystals, and then a lot of that can be saved with dark matter crystallization. So, 450 time crystals is a lot. So if we set this to 4.5, that's 900 diamonds that we need. And if we need 900 diamonds, then we would need, what, 18,000 coal? Yeah, okay, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. As far as oil, we would need 4,500 crude oil to do it that way. We would need... The petroleum coke recipe is just strictly worse, right? Unless you have spare heavy oil residue, I guess, which we absolutely don't. So pink diamonds, if we need 900 of these, that's 7,200 coal and 2,700 quartz crystals, which is also awful. What about turbo diamonds? Is this feasible at all? We're sort of running out of viable options here. So this is 9,000 coal and 6,000 packaged turbo fuel. Alright, that's just... Well, no, it would only be 600 packaged turbo fuel, which is much more doable, but still awful. Especially since it's packaged instead of a fluid. Alright, cloudy diamonds. Is this going to be our miracle? No, it's not. Alright, I think this might just simply be impossible. At least it'll be impossible to get them all going through one route. Like, we could... If we make some of them from coal and some of them from crude oil, that would make it easier. But still, we're talking about, like, gathering up all of the coal on the map levels of production quantities. And we don't have something nice and convenient like the Dune Desert being full of iron and copper to make the coal feasible. Like, we would have to just... That's pure, that's normal, most of these are impure. Yeah, that's rough. There's no, like, SAM alt recipe to make coal, right? I guess there is. You can make coal from iron at a converter. Alright, that seems like a bad idea. But what do I know? What other options are there? You can make coal from a couple of things. You can make sulfur from coal. Alright, let's just try... Let's just use all of the coal we have here and see what that does for us. So we're going to assume that each of these belts are... Each of these 3 belts that we're taking the coal from is going to be a full 270, which I think is slightly less than that. But so we have 270, well, we have 1200 times 3 minus 270 times 3 is 2,790 coal, which is a decent chunk. So let's just build up a wall. Actually, we need to get a foundation on first so that it snaps to the world grid properly. So there you go. Foundation in. Build the wall up. And then just sort of over a little bit. Alright. So then this can go and take up a whole bunch of space. Let's swap back to the hover pack so that we can do this from a more convenient vantage point. And start placing in the foundations in large quantities, because we're going to need a lot of them. And also because this is just going to line up with our particle accelerator blueprint, I believe. So let's just place these in. And if we just extend a nice big line across, like that, and then we put our particle accelerator blueprint. Where would that be, and what would it be called? Particle accelerator? Yeah, here it is. Alright, so this then just lines up. And did it do weird orientation stuff again? No, it didn't actually. Alright, cool. So let's just get a bunch of these guys placed in, and then that'll be enough for a start, I guess. Now let's get power up to them. Where is our power pole? So we just bring the power line up there and then start connecting in like that to begin with. Now, if you are set to make diamonds, we finished our MAM research. What did that give us? I think it's just some stuff that I've seen and not selected. Yeah, rubber concrete and infused uranium cell. So this is going to be... if we have 2,790, then that 2,790 divided by 600 is a little bit less than 5. So let's get... Actually, is this gonna be worth it? This might be a big enough bottleneck that I want to summer sloop it. So let's see how that works. If we would need to go out and either hunt for summer sloops or reclaim some of the ones that I've used elsewhere. But that would make the numbers a whole lot more favorable. So let's see here. Diamonds. How much we needed? We needed 900 diamonds, right? So if we only need 450 diamonds, that would be 9,000 coal. And it would be 2,250 crude oil. Which, if we then split those in half, that's like almost manageable. Alright, we're gonna have to go summer sloop hunting then, because I can max overclock these and get that production going. How many does the time crystal make? The time crystal converters are very slow, so these ones, which are relatively fast, would be much better to summer sloop. Although if we have even more summer sloops, then we could do... No, there's no way we could get both stages done. That's just completely impractical. We would need so many sloops for that. Alright. So, if this is max overclocked... Oh, we can't even, because that's more than 1,200. So this would have to be like 60 a minute each. Then in order to get all of this done, we would need... How many summer sloops? We would need 4 for this machine, 4 for the next machine, and those two would be 2,400 total. So we would need another machine, which could get us up to theoretically 3,600, but obviously we don't have the coal for that on site. So we need like 3 machines then, basically, and 12 summer sloops. So I guess we're gonna have to go hunting. So let's do that. And we have 3 summer sloops currently, so we need 9 more. And we're going to be swapping back to the jetpack. And hopefully we can find... Oh, this one is going to be like in the cave beneath this or something. Let's see here. Where is the entrance? It's in here. There we go. Nice and easy. So, we can grab you. And actually we have our radar towers, which should be able to tell us how many summer sloops are in the area. So there's 10 in this big central area, so that's pretty good. I should be checking the map in the middle of a poison pillar area. So we just need to get a whole bunch of summer sloops and then throw them into machines. Alright. where are you? So this is the area that has 10 in them. And they could be anywhere in this entire radar. I wish you could, like... It'd be cool to be able to, like, customize the radar diameters to, like, narrow down exactly where things are and triangulate them that way. Sadly, not an option. So we're just gonna have to be searching. And we need a whole lot of time crystals, and there's not really another great way of getting them, so this is basically what we're left with. Alright, so this, we go over here. We found a summer sloop on the scanner. And it's over this way. And it's apparently directly beneath us, which means it's probably in this cave system down here, I suppose. So blow that whole destructible thing up. And we need to, like, wrap around this way. And that did not help. That did not help at all. So, where are you, Summer Sloop? It wasn't, like, above us, right? I guess it could be, like, up here somewhere? No, it's definitely in here. Which means we do just need to go cave hunting. Oh, is this? Oh, here we go, surely. Yeah, down here. Alright, that was sneaky. Okay, just blast our way through and grab another summer sloop. Alright, now how on earth do we get out of here? This way? Yes, it is. Alright. Cool, we have successfully escaped. So we just have to keep on exploring, see what we can find. Let's see here. Where are the summer sloops? Now, unfortunately, the area that I'm looking is fairly large, and summer sloops are not nearly as common as Mercer spheres, which is a tragic decision, because they are way more useful in large quantities than Mercer spheres are. So this one is just going to be somewhere in here. There we go. So we can grab you and keep on scanning. And this is still in this area, right? Yeah. There's still 8 in this radar zone. I wish there was a way of upgrading the range of the handheld scanner so that you could detect them from further off. Like here is one over here. So over we go. And there it is. Alright, grab that. And I need to get more... I need to get another sack of fuel, because I was getting kind of low-ish, which is not what you want to happen. Alright, where are summer sloops? Just scanning around. I don't see any at the moment. And we are still within this radar zone. Now the problem is that the scanner also takes elevation into account, so it's not like you can just, you know, fly across the skies just looking down. If you're too high up, the scanner won't detect things that are farther away. Alright, anything down here? No, apparently not. So we're just gonna keep on going. Okay, and one thing I just considered is that max overclocked summer sleep's particle accelerators drink a whole lot of power. And I don't know if our power system will probably be good enough to handle it, as long as we don't like make a habit of it, but it's probably something we should be a bit cautious about. This radar only has 6 summer sloops in it, but I guess we can go hunting around anyway. How many are we at? We're up to 7. So we've gotten 4 so far, and we need another 5 at least. And that's just for this portion. We need more for other parts. Okay, summer sloop scanned. We can head over this way. Up we go. Okay, it's probably directly underneath me. It's gonna be down here. Yep, here we go. There it is. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for bumping into me randomly. Summer sloop acquired. Alright, now we just need to keep on going. We're up to 8. So we can get 2 overclocked machines, which is something. Now, let's see. Actually, do any of the other options for diamonds, do any of them just natively go faster? Turbo Diamonds does. So it is 30 to 3, which is twice as good on the coal ratio. So it's the same amount of coal, right? 600. It's the same amount of coal for twice as many diamonds, and in exchange you have to throw some packaged turbo fuel in. That might be worthwhile, actually. Because if we did that, then this going up as fast as it would go would be 120 diamonds per 1200 coal, which would be 240 diamonds for 2. It would be 240 diamonds when summer slooped. So 2 of these max overclocked would give us 480 diamonds, which is still like half of what we need, but at least it's something. And then we would just have to worry with the packaged turbo fuel, which would not be easy. So I think that's going to be the route we go, just to be efficient on summer sloop usage. And in that case, I think technically we have enough for the coal patch we currently have, but I want to make all the time crystals we're going to need. I don't want to have to go back and do this again, which means we're going to need more summer sloops, we're going to need more coal. We're going to need to find this just down this tiny little crack in here. Man, they do not make these guys easy, huh? There you go. So if we had 4 max overclocked turbo diamond productions, then that would be, what, 900 some diamonds, which it would be, yeah, 960 diamonds, I believe, which would be enough with some to spare potentially. Okay, there are only 2 summer sloops in this area, which makes sense since it was my starting zone. So we're gonna turn east and see if we can get some sloops elsewhere. Obviously, just the odds of encountering a summer sloop are higher if there's more in the zone. So we just keep going, and we can repurpose some of the coal from our coal power generators, and then we're going to need to set up quite a significant amount of turbo fuel for this goal, actually. So this is going to be a whole thing, and we're probably not going to get really any progress other than the time crystals towards my goal of having unlimited power shards today. But boy, will it be nice once we have them. Alright, so now we're in this central bit. How does this look? Radar, what do you have to say? There's 7 in here, that's pretty decent. So I imagine it's relatively unlikely for them to be super close to a factory. Although certainly not impossible, since I don't have the scanner out 24/7. Alright, we are scanning and moving. Where are the summer sloops? I've got to have some places that have, like, summer sloops that I've already found, but I don't want to go around to all of my factories and check them all, because that sounds like a recipe for spending a whole lot of time staring at buildings instead of actually finding just random new summer sloops out in the wild. I'm pretty sure I might have summer sloops in the Christmas factory that I set up temporarily to accelerate those. So if we're really struggling here, which it seems like we are, I might go and raid some of those. Alright, where are we? How is there just nothing? Just, like, been halfway across the map without a summer sloop. There's a Mercer Sphere, which I do not need. Okay, finally we scan a summer sloop. Let's go and pick it up. Here we go. Gotcha. Alright, so where else? Here we go. There's one up this way. And I could probably use the interactive map to find them the same way I hunt for hard drives, but this isn't so bad. It's going to be in that rock, I think. No, apparently not. Apparently... Oh, it's just here. I flew directly over it. Wonderful. Alright, we're up to 11. We theoretically need 16 for this project. So, let's fly up here. Let's grab this purple power slug, since artificial power slugs aren't quite available yet, unfortunately. Might as well have some ability to make new power shards. Gosh, this place is radioactive and poisonous. It's just the worst. Alright, so that is fine. Then we go up here. I see a Mercer Sphere in the distance, and another Mercer Sphere not really in the distance. How many of those do we have? Only 8. Yeah, I might as well grab just like one more since we're passing by. There we go. So this area has like a million Mercer Spheres, so you would think that it would also have a bunch of Summer Sloops. And it does. We're heading into an area with 12. That's the most that I've seen all day. And we just need 5. We need 5 Summer Sloops to have enough to do this project. And because there's so many in this area, I'm going to sort of circle around a little bit, not just cruise through. There's one on the scanner, so let's head on over. Alright, and it is just down here. Alright, Summer Sloop acquired. Now, is there something behind this waterfall? No, there is not. Okay, there's already another Summer Sloop on the scanner, so that is what we love to see. Now, what we don't love to see is this massive cliff, which we can just barely get on top of. Alright, now we head off this way. And it's apparently just down here on this uranium. There we go. That's another one of those. Done. And there's another Summer Sloop on the scanner, although I can't quite tell. I think it's this way. Alright, so I don't know if we're actually going to make it across this gap. We should. I also... Okay, it's back on the scanner. Let's grab the Mercer Sphere while we're here. Just pick you up. Summer Sloop is this way. Alright, where are you? Right here. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a tricky landing. There we go. Alright, we're up to 14, so 2 more. 2 more Summer Sloops, and then we'll have what we need for this Time Crystal project. Alright, where are you? This isn't a crash site, right? I mean, I've already grabbed that, I believe. Alright, so now we just continue to loop around. There's another Summer Sloop up here. Probably just at the top of this giant thing, if I had to guess. Up we go. And where are you? There you are, down there, actually. Alright. That's another Summer Sloop for us. Alright, we need 1 more Summer Sloop. And that area has 6. This slightly overlapping area has 8. Let's see. If we drop down here, then go over this way, up on top of this. There it is. And we got it. Alright. So that is all of the summer sloops acquired. So step 1, success. Right, we have 16. That is 4 max overclocked particle accelerators, making turbo diamonds. So that would be at this, which is the fastest that the coal input can manage, 120, then summer sloop to 240, then multiplied by 4 for 960. So what we need to do is figure out how much of the other stuff we need. So we're going to need the resources as if we're producing 480. So we're going to need 4,800 coal and 320 packaged turbo fuel. So let's figure that out. So we have 480 times 2 diamonds equals 4,800 coal, 320 packaged turbo fuel. And the packaged is a bit annoying because it means we're going to have to add the cost of the packages on. So the coal is straightforward, we just have to gather a lot of it. Packaged turbo fuel is less straightforward. So we need 320 of this, which is 320 turbo fuel, 320 empty canisters, which is obvious. So there's no need to write that down. So turbo fuel alt recipes. So the best alt, I believe, is just the basic turbo fuel, because it uses fuel which can be made in a blender. So we need 384 fuel, 256 compacted coal. Then the compacted coal is, so that technically comes as a byproduct for a couple of things, but not anything we can do. Actually, is there any just like randomly relevant hard drives for this? Charcoal, biocoal, we don't want either of those. See, all this stuff is irrelevant. Yes, so everything here is irrelevant, and we can't even attempt to scan another one. So if we need 256 compacted coal, then the only way of doing that is to make 256 each coal sulfur. 256 coal, 256 sulfur. Alright, so that is that. Then we need to worry about the fuel. So we need 384, which we're obviously going to go diluted fuel, which is 192 heavy oil residue, 384 water. Then the heavy oil residue, if we need 192 of it, we need 144 crude oil. So that is easy. Then that is going to give us 96 polymer resin, which we can use to make how much? We can use that to make residual plastic. And what, it's going to be like 32, right? 32 plastic. And then that would give us 64 empty canisters. Polymer resin goes to 64 empty canisters, and then we need another 100 and some, which we can just make using plastic, which we can import. And we shouldn't need to import that much, so that should be fine. So we need an insane amount of coal. We need a really modest amount of sulfur and crude oil, and a little bit of extra plastic. Alright, so how are we going to do this in terms of just like getting everything set up? Because the coal is a huge bulky thing that we're going to have to be taking from all over the place. So we're going to need to put the coal onto the logistics network, I think, and probably just have a direct connection. Oh, there's another summer soup over here. I might as well grab that. Okay, so the plan is we're going to have a whole bunch of... We're going to add a whole bunch of train stations which just bring in their local coal supplies onto the train network. And then from there we will be able to just import all of those and the other parts, which I guess we might want to just build this on top of a sulfur node or something so that we don't have to do any funny stuff with that, because I don't think we have sulfur on the logistics network. So we just find a sulfur node near water, and then we import all the rest of the stuff to there. Alright, so let's respawn. That summer soup is too hard to find. I remember I've struggled with it constantly in the past, and I don't know if I've ever actually found it. So obviously plenty of sulfur, that's no problem. And we only need like an impure node. So let's just set out somewhere where is going to be nice and out of the way. Down here in the southwest we have a pure sulfur node, and not much else help down there. It'd be cool to have an area with sulfur and coal, but this is fine. So there is a pure sulfur node right by an existing train station, actually. I guess we can make use of that. So we need to head south, which means this hypertube, which sort of is awkward. And we just have to turn southwest. Alright, so now we are at southwest limestone, which had a sulfur node right by it. And also some water. So that should be quite convenient. Yeah, there's the sulfur down there. There's the water. Alright, so let's get this set up, I guess. Is this even more convenient than just setting up a new spot? Probably. We already have the intersection done at least. Alright, so let's see if we can get this going over here. And we're going to swap back to Hoverpack now because we're now building stuff, so it helps to be stable. Wait, we don't want to go that way because there's a thing there. We're just going to get in the way. Actually, is this a good spot? So we have that train line over there, which we don't want to get in the way of. We also have all this power infrastructure here, which we don't want to mess with. We could go over this way, but that requires some weird crossing over, but I guess that's fine. I guess that is not the end of the world. So we are just going to fill in a bunch of space over this way. And then we need, this is the output train line, and it needs to come around this way. This is the input train line, and it needs to loop around this way. Yeah, okay, this is pretty terrible. This is not the greatest thing that I've ever constructed. Somehow that signaling still works because of how lazy I made the signaling last time. So we're going to need this guy to have its own couple of signals. Like there and there. And then probably there as well. Alright, so now we have our train line set up. So let's get this even so that we can start just placing the 5x5 squares in. So that can just go in everywhere. And there we go. It's a good start at least. So now we can put in some more train stations. So they should all line up, just because they might as well. And we need oil, although just typing the word oil doesn't help. So this is time crystal oil. Then we need to go over here a little bit, and I could make plastic on the spot with extra oil, but I have a whole thing for producing plastic, so I might as well use it. So this is time crystal plastic. Oh, is this gonna be possible? No, it's not. Alright, so you do actually need to be like a space back. Alright, so you go back here. And then shift over into that area. Alright, so then this can go like that, I guess. We want to leave a little bit of space between the two. So we have time crystal oil and time crystal plastic. So we need oil, we need plastic, we need sulfur, which is on site, just down there. And finally, we need an insane amount of coal. And we need so much coal that we're gonna have to design the coal trains to, I don't know, we're gonna have to do something with the coal trains. Although it is gonna be coming in on multiple separate trains, right? Because that just makes most sense. Like we're gonna have multiple input destinations all siphoning coal over to here, and each one of those is gonna have their own train that they bring. So we're going to have to set up a much more robust system for dealing with that. Because the way we do it for the normal things, which only require like one train, and really only require like half of a train, are a lot smaller and not functional at the scale of 4,800 coal. Alright, so these go in, they get their little signals. You can still find your way through, no problem. So, for the coal, what we need is, well, first of all, we need a station. And we need that station to be over here. Just give it all the space that it would usually have. It gets the connection, which it would usually have. Alright, our reanimated SAM supply in the Dimensional Depot is, for some reason, not functional. Don't know what that's about, and we're going to need a whole lot of wire at some point. Alright, so let's first expand that out a little bit so that's less awkward. And might as well start placing down freight platforms and take from the depot first. So this one is oil, right? You have that labeled as time crystal oil? Yes. Alright, so we want you to output into this little gap here. 2, 3, 4, and then we need one more. So we need a little bit more space in there. Alright, so that's 5 fluid freight platforms, which will be more than enough. Then we have our regular freight platforms here, which are going to be providing the plastic. There we go. And then we have this, which is our time crystal coal. And we need 5,056 of it, which is more than 4 full Mark 6 belts, which is crazy. And in order to deal with that, the good news is we have in our base setup here, we have like 10 full Mark 6 belts, theoretical. So I don't think we need to change the size of the trains themselves. However, we do need to change the ability of the trains to get into here. So, basically what we need is we need a long run wind up to here so that the trains can sort of fit in if there's 3 waiting at a time. And we might, let's see here. So this is 10 outputs, which is 12,000. We should be fine. We should be fine with buffer chests. So let's fill in a little bit of this area and put that in, because we don't want to take up space that we don't have. So if we put a buffer chest in front of each of these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually, would it be easier to just add a 6th row? It might be easier to just add a 6th row, because we're gonna have to like combine this up and divide it evenly. And having a 6 to 4 seems easier than a 5 to 4, because I've had trouble with that sort of thing in the past. I don't know. It'll be fine. We will figure it out. You will figure it out. So then we go to here, and tier 6 belts go across, like so. And we just go like that, and like that. Alright, so now we can take, what was it, 12,000 per minute out of the freight platforms and into these chests, which will then be just floor holing everything on a single belt, and that'll give us theoretically solid, consistent throughput from each of them. So this, we just place them in like this, and alright, so that is all the space we need on this row. So this floor is done. So now we just need to get the trains in. So we basically need this to branch off into 2 train lines. We need one which just goes across and deals with the other trains. So you go out to here, and actually, wait. Better idea. So this is a thing that goes back here. So surely we can get something off of this which will work. I don't know if it's gonna be steep enough or what, but if we push it all the way out like that and then loop you into here, then you can go into there, you can go into there, and then let's just disconnect that real fast, and I don't know, do some weird stuff to get this other guy connected up from this one line without having horrible intersections. There. So that is now rebuilt. And let's put another block signal in there because it probably needs it. So now you can do your thing. These guys are fully connected up. And if we want, actually wait, we have this line going around, and that was meant to be the way we go in. So yeah, we can actually just use this, and we'll have done that quite nicely, I think. So this then goes up here and is going to fill in a whole lot of space. I don't know why it's not quite angled properly. And this is going to go all the way around and into the coal line. And the fact that this is taking up a large amount of space is actually a good thing, because it means we can fit a lot of blocks in here and a lot of trains can wait in this line at once. If they need to, which hopefully they won't. Alright, so you go all the way up to here, and then at this point we can start worrying about making it back into where the train is actually going. So you then go back there and in. Alright, so now that's all connected up. Let's put the signals in. So you guys all get your own little signals, and now this area is good. And we just need to get enough block signals on here for it to function properly. So have one there. So there's going to be one in the station, one directly behind the station, and one in this space. And then we can go back here and fit in another one. And then that should be fine. Alright. So this station is all set up. And we then just need to deal with the rest of these resources, get their trains in, I guess. And let's see, do we sort out the coal first, or do we build the factory first? I think we should sort out the coal first. That's going to be a lot more troublesome to do. So we can go directly north of here and grab those 3. So we can go up to here and just jump along. Now, as far as how the coal output trains are going to work, I do not want them sitting in the station at all, ever. I think the plan is for them to wait for a full cargo, then deliver that, and then however much of that gets delivered, gets delivered. So that will be a bit different from how we normally do it. It'll have a lot of trains going, but this is not exactly the same situation as we normally have when we're doing coal. So we can grab those 2 pure nodes, that normal node and that impure node, and that will be half. That'll be half right there of this, almost. Well, yeah, it'll be more than half, because the normal and impure will push it over that line. So this won't be extremely terrible, although having to set up the train stations for all of this is not exactly like the world's most convenient thing. So that goes out like that, and out like that. Then we get a path signal there and a block signal there. And then you guys need to become path signals, because this is an intersection now. Alright, so that is that. Now we set up the station itself. And let's get all of that in. And I guess it's just easiest to just use the 5x5 blueprint basically always. So that expands out like that, and then we should make this line up properly. So we have something like that. Then we go to the train station, place it in, give it a decent amount of space for that to curve around and go in. Okay, that was not enough. So let's try having it be just further over this way then, and a little bit further back as well. So if you're there, then you can go there, and station 99. If that is true, that's a lot of stations. So this is, what, Midwest coal. That's approximately where we are right now. And let's get some freight platforms on. And we just get 1, 2, 3, 4. Expand the foundation out a little bit more. This is overkill, but it's fine. We might conceivably want to expand the amount of inputs of platforms at some point if this proves to not be enough, but hopefully it will. So you go around here, and you need to loop around with this. So how can we get you going like that? And almost, but not quite. So then you can curve around to there. And then you just need to go out with that angle in mind. So you should be able to make it back to here and be there and connect up. Alright, so that is all connected. So that's all set up. Now we need to get the platforms in, which is going to be basically just the inverse of what we did that other time. So we need 1, 2, 3. Did that place right? Did. 4 and 5. Those aren't all lined up technically, but it doesn't really matter. So they send double extra speed belts straight across into here. And let's get all of those guys lined up. Alright, now we need a 1 to 5 splitter. Or, wait, no, what do we need? It's like a 3 to 5-ish, right? So we have, that's going to be a full belt. That's going to be a full belt. Those two are going to be partial belts. So yeah, we need a 3 to 5 splitter, which never goes above a single belt in capacity. Let's get a power pole there so we can hover. So, first step is... So, let's see, if we were to do this, we would go... Hang on. So we have... How much is this total? Because if I can just figure out the exact numbers... So it is obviously 2,400. A normal is half of that, so 600. So it's 3,300 coal in this immediate vicinity. So if we have 3,300 coal divided by 5, that's 660 each. Okay. So that is pretty manageable. We just need to do some balancing. I guess we can... Let's see, there are a couple ways we can do this. We could just go full-on speed control. Each of these gets 660 only. Or we could do more balance-based stuff. So if we bring in our two... Hang on. Yeah, so we have 2,400. Then we can make 4 batches of 600 off of that. And a 5th batch of 600 off of the normal belt. So we take each of our high-speed belts, we split them into 2. We take the normal belt and we just run it. Then we only have to take the impure belt, split it into 5, and merge it up with each of those. Alright, that's pretty easy actually. So we are just going to have a splitter, And then after that splitter, we're going to have a merger and a merger, I guess. So that is our 600. And we just need to have another one of those. And we can put that, I guess, over here on this side. So lined up with this input. It can just be a regular splitter. And let's have them all lined up just for neatness. So we have our splitter. And then our two mergers. Which go there and there. So those are our 1200s. And they can just go down from the bottom row. Then this middle one, this is going to be our belt, which is natively 600. So that is going to be there. And so that will be like that. And those don't even technically need to be Mark 6. They could be Mark 5. So now we need to get our belt that's 300 into there, 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 and there. Which we're going to do by just building it back here. Behind where all the rest of them split. So we have a splitter into two. Then we have... No, that's too close. You cannot do it that close. So this splitter goes into two, and it takes this side and this side into three each. Then one of those merges back up like this, and let's do all of this as Mark 5 so we can remember that it's the slower one. And then all of these guys, the rest of them, come out and then connect up. So that is 5 outputs. And did I connect you up? I did. Alright, so we connect these. So this one comes over here and just goes into there. This one goes straight up this way and goes into there. This one goes straight up and into that one. That one goes there. This one curves around and goes into there. Alright, so now we... Oh, I didn't mean to take that foundation out. Now we just put you in. And you need to be Mark 6. So you're Mark 6. Then we put you in and make you Mark 6 as well. Alright. So we put you in. And you are just a Mark 5 to indicate that you're slower. So we have 300 here. Splits 5 ways into 60 each. Then each of these gets split. Yes, so this is all good to go. So now we just combine these mergers up with their dedicated outputs. And that should be a properly set up train loader. Assuming... Okay, it is default set to load. I'm going to have to go to the other side and fix that there. So now we just need to remember the row of 3. The two outside ones are 1200, the inside one is 600. And this guy back here is 300. So now we have to drop down to ground level and get all those. So we have, conveniently, power poles just down there, just chilling. So we should be able to get this done pretty easily. So those all go down. Now I really hope we have enough time crystals and whatever to do this. So that goes down to that level, and we can do the old trick of landing on these, right? Their nose is a bit smaller, but we can. So that all goes down, and I think this is going to be easiest from over here. So if we're here, we can see all of them except for one. So we're going to have to swap to jetpack because we're going to be out of power temporarily. Alright, so you go down, you go down, you go down, and you go down. Then we need to land and just keep this going. So we take those down, we take these ones down, and then we follow up. Okay, don't fall past them. Don't want to do that. Alright, now we're already at, well, what is technically ground level up here. So that is cool. I don't even know if I placed that right. No, I placed that one too far down. It's hard to place things precisely when you're flying. Alright. So those are in. And the coal is going to be annoyingly, like, pretty much down at ground level mostly, I think. Except for maybe this one. So let's head up northeast to grab that coal. And this power thing is already fully utilized. I guess we can just take this path up. It's approximately the right direction. Not perfect, but should be good enough. Alright, so here we are. Now we need to head east. Can we just go that way and see if we can find our coal patch? Down we go. And then it is over here, apparently. So let's head over this way. And yeah, I see it now. Coal patches are always a bit tricky to find because they blend in pretty well. Alright, there's a guy there. Just gotta wait for the guy to move. And place that in. And you are just gonna have to sort of go up, I think. Get powered on. And max overclocked. Alright, now where were we building this? It's just this way. Okay, I see them over there. Alright, let's build up to here, and you're going to start with a foundation just somewhere so that it's aligned to the world grid, and then from there we zoop a wall up, and this should be high enough for us to not have issues with terrain, really. So we can go here and get the belt on to this. Alright, so now we just have to make our way over and just do a nice little sky bridge. So this curves around and keeps going. Alright. Forgot how annoying building is when you're having to just place and then bring your belt along, and then more foundations, and then more belts, and then you just have to swap back and forth between the two forever. Alright, so we are making our way over, and then we will have this all set up. Alright, off we go. So somewhere in this general area, and now we just need to worry about getting into exactly the right spot. So let's go over here, and it feels funny to do this big, super fancy, magical force field belt to move coal of all things, but that's what we're doing. Alright, so now we just have to get this set up properly, so that just comes down onto there. And boom. That is one machine's worth of coal. Done. Next we have... well, we have this one, which should be like right down here. And that's the normal belt. Right. Yeah, so that's normal down there. So let's just drop the power line down and get this set up. So you get a miner Mark III, you get a power line, and max overclocked. Alright, then a random guy walks past, and we just need you to go up as far as you possibly can. Alright. Actually, could you face a different direction? Because if you face the other direction, you can just go, like, directly in. Okay, the guy has just walked into the immediate area and is stood there. Alright, so you go up, and you output over that way. So now, this belt just goes along. And it comes along here. And this is the normal one, so it goes in the center. Alright, finally we have the pure and the impure. So we're going to head down this way. And they are all the way down there, huh? So we're going to head down there and grab both at once. And then get them up onto this foundation. So that's them. Alright. So we need to set up floor holes here. And then get them set up. We might as well do the top half of this. And then we'll be able to just basically respawn. So that goes into there. This comes all the way over to this one and goes in. Alright. And we have 8 power shards, which is enough to finish this row off. Although it's not much more than that. Alright, so you go down, as do you. And then I am going to land on that. And we just keep on spiraling down. So, this is the Mark 6 apparently. This is the Mark 5. And just this little bit more, and we should be there. Alright, this is low enough. So we can pop down a minor Mark 3. Hey, look at that. A quartz line that's actively doing stuff. That's fun. So you get powered up. So where is my power? There's a power pole over here. So let's grab you and just a line of regular old power lines. Come over this way. Go into there. And then we go over to here. Get that one set up. And powered. Alright, so this is the Mark 5, and it is going to come out to here and then up to there. This is the Mark 6, and it needs to gain a bit more height before going into there. Alright, so that is that. So this should be less than half. That one should be maxed, which it is. So now we're going to do the somewhat time-intensive process of just flying all the way up this whole thing and making sure nothing weird happens further up the chain. So up we go. Alright, now we're at this level. Oh boy, that was an autosave launch, alright. Let's see if I can make it to land on here. Okay. Well, one thing I see is that is the belt, which is supposed to be half, because that's the 600. So that is full speed. That is full speed. That's half. That's half. Cool. That is everything going as expected. So now we just have to jetpack the rest of the way up. It's crazy how far rocket fuel can carry you. So we are up here, and these outputs all look equal. Yeah, so they're 600 with the occasional extra one placed in. So that is that. And these guys are going to be filling up pretty quick. Those two obviously had a bit of a head start. And then these two are going to take their time to catch up. But probably they'll all be full. I want these to all be full by the time we actually send a train out here. Because otherwise they're going to be unbalanced and weird. And I don't want that to happen. And it shouldn't be a major issue. Alright, so that is good. That is good. How long does this take to fill? If it's 660 a minute, that's 6. So that much plus half of that in a single minute. So that's like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're looking at like 9-ish minutes to fill this entire station. Which, I don't know, hopefully the trains don't take 10 minutes on a route. And if they do, then we'll have to add in multiple trains per station, which is gonna get real messy. Alright, so now these buffers are starting to fill, which is fine by me. Obviously, these ones aren't quite there yet, and these ones are still pretty far off. But in about 6 or 7 minutes, then that will be all filled up with coal. So we just need to do this in one other place to get the rest of the coal that we need. And so this one is relatively close to our thing, right? So this is just like down to there and then up and then down and then up. So that's pretty efficient. Then the other one which we build is going to be up here, which is actually also not too far off. So that's good. So let's fly up to there. And by fly, I mostly mean slide jump. So we slide jump up north to that coal mining area and just set up a train station for them. So up we go. And it was that it was by that Sam, I think. So we're gonna have to go in from the train line a little bit, which is of course no big deal. Yeah, those particle accelerators there, those don't actually do anything. Those were when I thought I was doing something. Alright, so we swapped Overpack for building. And we can now set up this. So these go out. And a 2-ray whale blueprint goes in. If it snapped correctly, that would be wonderful. Alright, now we have to get these guys attached up to the trains, which apparently works depending on which order you place them in. Alright, so that all goes. Then you're a path signal, you're a block signal, you're a path signal, and you're a path signal. Alright, now we need to get this to auto-connect mode and place a decent but not huge number of blueprints out this way. So we are going along. And we just keep on going. Let's see here. How close is that? That all the way out here. Yeah, we're just about right. So now we set up a train stop. So step 1, get a billion foundations in. And just something like that ought to work. Step 2, let's tick that box for now, so that my inventory doesn't completely fill up. Then we put in a station, which we can just have it be like there. And that goes along there. This goes back to there. Then we get our freight platforms. That's 1 and 2. and 3. I don't know why I placed 3. We need 5. Alright, so those are all in. Then I'm going to need one more foundation over here. So this comes along, and then we need you to just loop around as best as you can. So, I don't know, something like this. No, this is all wrong. Alright, you loop around, and then it's easier to do it from this way because you can give it more time to self-correct. So let's just have you turn as sharply as possible. And then we go out there and place it, and we're all good. Alright, now signals. You get a block signal. You get a block signal. Just something basic like that. We might want, and in fact we probably do want another one. Another signal in here, because we might, it's, no, not facing that way. It's entirely possible for us to have multiple trains feeding this one station. So this is, what, central coal we'll call it. Central coal, there we go. So here we have 3 equal belts going out to 5 belts, which is possibly a little bit complex. So let's get our storage containers in for the buffering. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we get a whole bunch of super fast belts. And there we go. This should be some real speedy loading. Alright, then we have 3 belts splitting out to 5 equal belts. How do we manage that? So it's going to be a variant of a 1 to 5, but it'll be like 3 to 5. So if we have each split into 2 as the first step, that seems quite natural. So let's do something like this. Give it plenty of space. So each splits into 2. So that is a 3 to 6. And then we just need one of these that's splitting into 2 to merge into all the other ones after they've already split. So it's going to be something like this and that. And that one is going to just have the 1 because I think it's going to be the special weird one. And then to those 2. So we just need to get this belt to all of these places. So it is going to need to split itself into... It's going to have to split itself into 5, isn't it? Right, that's annoying. Because that's going to be another 1 to 5 splitter. Alright, let's try doing this with the more convenient system of just like working on the numbers exactly. So how much did we have here? We had 3,600 minus 270 times 3. So we had 2,790. 2,790 divided by 5 is 558. Well, isn't that annoying? Alright. Can we just not have this be perfect? Yeah, this is not going to be perfect anyways because the belts aren't actually totally split. So, if we just do something more simple, like you go to these two, so you go there and there, then another one, which we can put there, we'll go to there and to there. And then the third one, which we can put in there, goes to there and to... Okay. Hang on, let me think here. Because we need these to all be at least like close-ish, right? So I guess one way of doing that is we could just split each... Yeah, we could just split each of these 1 to 5. That would actually be perfect and not terribly difficult. So we split each 1 to 5, so we need our 1 to 5 balancer. Oh, but we need the better one. I had at some point figured out how to make a better one, but I don't think I ever blueprinted it. So let's get a little bit of extra space, get a blueprint designer, and just figure that out. So we had a splitter, first and foremost, obviously. Then it split into 2, I believe. And each of those 2 received a merger. Alright, so if we set up something like that, and we go there and there, so this is going to be the loop back area. And now we have that and that, and this is not symmetrical. It wouldn't matter really, probably, but if we just go in like this, then there. So now these 2 outputs are a lot closer to being symmetrical. And this one then just goes into a splitter here. Like that. And it goes 1, 2, and 3. And then this one goes to a splitter here, which we actually need to be a little bit further out. So you go there, and you are 1, 2, and 3. And so this should work, and then this is the input. So let's call this 1 to 5 balancer, and I want to overwrite the other one because this is strictly better. And now we can take that out. And we can just place in a couple of these. So we just need 3 of these and then a decent amount of space after them, but not too much. So you get a 1 to 5, and then you get a 1 to 5, and then a little bit more space. We get 1 there. Alright, so now each of these just has to merge up into groups of 3 and then go in. So this is going to be the part that's going to be kind of ugly. So one of these can go up. Some of these can go up to use the top outputs, if that makes it easier. So let's just try just sort of lazily doing this. So you get that, and then you are going to need to be out of the way a little bit. And then you go there. So that's one of them attached up. And then we are going to need the other one to merge up with that. Actually, I wonder if literally just stacking them would make it easier. So if we take those out, and then you literally just get placed on top of the other one. Can we do that? Yes, we can. So you are literally just on top. And then we get another one, which we're also going to place on top. Which we need to get it on the right height level. And then we just have to nudge it into place like this. Okay, the second row isn't actually perfectly aligned, but it should be good enough. Alright, so now if we take all these out for a minute, we're going to put them back in soon, then all of you are going to get mergers. Like there, and there, and there, and there. If this all fits, it's going to be great. So, if this goes up a little bit, just like the tiniest amount possible. Okay, the tiniest amount possible is too much for that. But that just means that we have to get the alignment correct. So, we take those out again. And I think what we do is just a wall. So is this going to be a good height? Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good height. So that wall goes in, and then, I mean, let's just see if we can put a floor hole there. We can. Alright, and then we get another wall and another row. Okay, now this is where things might get a little bit dicey. in terms of just like stacking these on top of each other like this. So that first row is fine, but this belt would have to go straight through it. And that is mostly just the fault of me having this being too compact. So what if you, instead of going straight out, what if you twist it out a little bit over to there? Then you could go through to a merger back here without trouble. And that would work nicely. I don't know why I'm putting like way more effort into designing this specific system than like all the other ones that I've done where I've just sort of been whatever. But it's fun to figure out convenient ways of doing this. Alright, so that is there. And then this one has to get its floor holes as well. So you get them there and there. And then the belts come down. And then we need this last one, which is going to come out to like here-ish, let's say. Yeah, that should be plenty. And then we place down a merger. Just past all that stuff so that there's no problems. That belt goes in. This floor hole goes in. That floor hole goes in. Then all that gets set up. Okay, and now we should just send those guys through, because that's where they're ultimately headed. Wait, not quite. Not quite. We have them going to the wrong one. So this one has to go forwards into there. Then this one goes forwards into there, and this one goes around and into there. Let's take those belts out in case they're in the way. Alright, so what does this look like up here on the second row? Well, we need to get enough space in for another 1 to 5 balancer, which should be just aligned exactly the same, like this. So, one of these is going to go down from this floor, and alright, we might need to mess around with the exact directions of these, but it's fine, we have space. So you can go in like that. Then this one would be going up through to the next floor. So, I don't know, it's hard to tell, somewhere like that. So you're going through to the next floor. Oh, don't slide around. These belts will carry you places if you're not careful. Now we need to get you into there, which barely fits. And then this one goes up to the next floor. Let's see if that is correct. No, not quite. So you're on the line and right in front of that line. So you're there. And you go up there. And then this one is going to be grabbing in from here, which is going to involve some more somewhat creative belting around to there. Alright, so that is that, and then this needs to go up to the next floor. So you go up to there, and there. Alright, so now we can stack the remaining splitter up here, and that will be all good. So we just need to get these last two set up, which I skipped them because there's only two here, not three, so it's just like objectively going to be a lot easier to do. So first of all, this merger needs to go away because we're going to need to place it somewhere more convenient. Then you go there, and we get a floor hole up here, like that. Then we get a floor hole up here, like that. So then this belt is going to go out this way and then just into a merger, which we need to have facing correctly, like that. So then that goes forwards, and these go in, there, and there. And then this all gets set up. Alright, now we can drag these belts outwards to the boxes they're headed for, which is there and there. Now we just have to get these hooked up on the second floor, and then the last floor should be relatively easy because we're not going to have to be dodging things. Alright, so if we take you out so that you can curve sooner. Default mode does work there. And then we're going to need some creative belting to get all the way back there, but it looks incredibly doable. Just something like that. Alright, now these two belts go up to there, and then this one is up to there, I believe. Yes. So that goes up, and oh, that's wrong, apparently. Apparently it's one belt over on this side. Alright, so those two are up. And now we just have to set up the top floor, which just has to go into all these holes, and it should be completely easy. We could have made this a blueprint, but like, when am I ever going to do this specific thing again? Probably either never or like 20 times in the next 5 minutes, and I'm going to be really sad that I didn't. We'll figure out which one it is. So that gets plopped in there. And now we just need to get these guys in. So you go around into there. And then we get you up to here and you up to here, and we have no higher floors to worry about, so we can just send them straight in. And that goes there. And one last one. That is there. Alright, so now we have a balanced three-way merger, 3 to 5. And that should be all good. So now we have to actually collect up Now that we're done doing basically nerd stuff and getting a perfect balance, we just need to actually grab the coal. So this goes to there. This one goes up to there. And this one goes up to here. And there we go. Alright, so assuming I didn't mess up my blueprint or anything else, which I don't think I have. I think everything should be correct, unless some belt isn't connected or something. That should be all clear. Now what we need to do is we need to bring power over here. And I should have done that ages ago just to make flying around more simple. And we do have power down there, so it's just a matter of getting there. And we also have the machines all pre-built and set up. And even we have belts coming off of them to an extent. So we just need to get down here and connect those up. And also what I need to do is I need to swap to the jetpack before we run out of space. Maybe even parachute would be better for this, because it's all just going down and being relatively stable as I do so. But this should still be okay. Okay. Just a little bit more. I hope we don't run out of building materials. We are relatively low, just because we've been jamming out triple Mark 6 belts all the way down here. Alright, now we are at, well, what would be ground level if it weren't like this random pillar. Alright. So now we're up here. We just need to drop down, grab these belts, send them up, and then attach them. Which we can swap back to hoverpack temporarily. So this belt goes over here, and now we've got our 3 belts. So we have our 3 belts, and they just sort of need to gain some height. Of course, we happened to land on that one giant pillar for no reason. Alright, so these need to come a little further forward so they're not underneath this thing that I built, which I could just dismantle since it's never going to do anything, but might as well leave it there. There's no real urgency to not have those sitting around. Alright, now we might be able to just connect all of these across. Alright, and alright, no clipping with anything significant. Let's get this tree out of the way. And there we go. So that is slightly less than full belts, but that is no problem. Alright, so swap back to jetpack. And we are going to cruise back up. So up we go. Let's land here and keep going. So we are almost up at the top. The resources have probably beaten us there by a long shot. Yes, they have. And now we can hop over to here. Do these all look equal? They do. Alright. So that is a whole bunch of coal set up. Now we just have to go and finish off our time crystal train station, and it is getting near-ish to the end of the stream, so I don't know if I'm going to start on the actual factory building just yet, but we're not too far away. Alright, so let's slide jump down here all the way south, and it should be just along this way. So that's the other coal output. I ran into a sign and lost all my momentum. So that's the other coal output there. So we just have to keep on going a little bit further, and then we will encounter the time crystal site. So down we go. And almost there. It's that big row of stations off in the distance. Basically just at the southernmost corner of the map. Well, at the southernmost corner of where my trains normally run. We technically have a little bit of a train line going down past it too, but this is the main corner. Alright, so here we are. Now, we need to get all of these guys set to unload so that they don't get confused. So you're all set to unload. You guys are all going to be set to unload, and it should be nice and quiet out here, no real traffic. So the ones that are heading in towards the center might have to deal with a bit of traffic, but the coal should be pretty much uninterrupted. So that should be a big plus. Alright, now we get trains. So train, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freight cars. And this is oil. Time, crystal, oil. Alright, now we just search oil. So we go oil distributor, time crystal oil, and then wait here until you're all done. Fully unloaded / unloaded, and off you go. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get there. That's fine. Next up we have plastic, which is optional but convenient. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are time crystal plastic. And so if I just search up plastic, we have plastic output and time crystal plastic. Is this really? Oh, yeah, so this is the first time I'm using plastic. I've used rubber before, though. So we go here until you're fully loaded / unloaded, and wait for 0 seconds. And off you go. Have fun with that. And now the coal, the complicated part. So we're going to need at least 2 trains, and hopefully just the 2 trains will be enough. We'll have to monitor that. So this is time, crystal, coal, western. So if I type all that in, go Midwest coal, time crystal coal, and I think you're never going to stop. You're just going to make deliveries as possible, and if that involves driving a whole bunch when you don't need to, then that is no problem. So then we get another 1, 3, 4, and 5. So you are time crystal coal central. And it's like very marginally more central than the other, but whatever. So you go central coal, time crystal coal. And again, you're not going to make any stops, you're just going to go. And hopefully, I mean, 5,000 a second is a lot, so it's quite likely that I will need more trains here. So I guess let's set up to monitor that. So we need to go down a level or two, and then we just need to set some space up here. Then if my hotbar would work, then we can start jamming these guys in to fill in a lot of foundation very quickly. And then go to blueprint mode so that you line up properly every time. Alright, so this is going to mostly just be a little convenience floor. Actually, we don't need this at all, do we? And it's not big enough to put any machines on. I guess we might want to organize these belts up. Yeah, we're going to want to organize these belts up. So that's fine then. So let's get these guys. We're going to point them out this way so that they aren't going to wind up in the way of anything else. And they are going to come down onto this floor. So we want 4 full belts of coal for the direct production of diamonds. And then we are going to want 1 belt of a little bit less than full coal for production of the turbo fuel. Alright, the train is back already, and it should be delivering coal. Hopefully that's what we're up to now. Alright. So now we're going to have coal in this system while I work, which I don't know if that's helpful because it'll let me see things, or annoying because it's going to fill up my inventory with coal whenever I dismantle something. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is I need to get... Let's see here. I don't want to pull from these belts unevenly. Actually, no. It's fine. Wait, is it fine? Do we have enough output on these to... Does each of these individual stations have more than 1,200? I'm not sure. I know we have more than 5,000 in general because we have 3,300 plus, what, 2,700? So we have something like 6,000. So it might be okay. It might be fine. But I want to make sure. And the way to do that is to do just like a chain of merging. So you are going to get a merger, and let's leave some space so that I can see the belts just to make sure. You are going to get a smart splitter, and you are going to go right any center overflow. Then this becomes a priority merger, which takes priority medium from the center. So then that will completely drain this one, and then if it doesn't have enough, it'll get extras from there. So then this one needs just to be another step on that same chain. So you get a belt there, which is priority medium from the center. Alright, so this belt is guaranteed 600. This belt is guaranteed 600. Or 1200. Literally twice as much. And we need to get you in so that that's set up properly. So then you go like this and like that. So you are going to fill up any gaps in coal on this belt. And then your belt is going to go forwards and fill up all the rest. Then we just actually need to do that again. So you need another priority merger with priority from the center, and then you are going to split off to there. So we can paste those settings and get them right. So now this belt should be 1200 a minute. And that is our 4 belts of 1200 a minute. 1, 2, no, we still need to finish off this one, I think. Yeah, we need to finish off this one. So you get a priority merger with priority from the center. And then you get a smart splitter, which outputs into that. And we have to set that. Alright, I've just noticed that this belt doesn't have any coal on it. Did this not connect properly, or... Alright. What happened here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This platform doesn't have any coal. Why does it not have any coal? It was never set to unload. That's why. Alright, no big deal. Just make sure that I got all the rest of these, since apparently I'm making that mistake now. Alright, we should be fine. It's set to unload, and when the next train comes around, it should figure that out. Okay, so now all I have to do is... What is this? This train line doesn't do anything. It doesn't need to exist. And then we are going to clear out some space up here, because we need to put some sinks in, and they're going to just clip through the ceilings otherwise. So let's have that row go in there. And then we get awesome sink with a smart splitter before it. And we get an awesome sink and an awesome sink and an awesome sink and an awesome sink. How are you lined up? You're lined up like that, and we need to just get rid of a couple more foundations for that. Alright, so this one, the smart splitter doesn't actually fit. Alright, so you need to get pushed back a little bit. And you do too. Alright, so you go there. And you get smart splitters and smart splitters. And then you go forwards into the awesome sink, each and every one of you, with a smart splitter first. We have to get rid of that random pole that's in the way. Alright, so that then goes across, and you get a smart splitter, and there's that random annoying conveyor pole there. Get rid of that. Alright, so now those all output into the sinks, and we just need a power line to get them going. And this will let us know if this is producing 1200 coal a minute. And all but the last line should be saturated. So let's get our... Where are they? Under logistics, throughput monitors. Go there. I hope that this is enough space to fit, because sometimes if they're on tiny little segments, they don't like it for whatever reason. Alright, so we have 1200, 1200, 1200, 1200, and less than 1200, but it's probably fine. So this isn't really going to tell us much instantly, because of course it's going at 1200, except for this one, which is for some reason going at 1198. Hopefully that gets recovered. But what this will tell us is eventually this will stabilize out, because I believe... So eventually this will stabilize out and tell us whether or not we're importing enough coal. So if these numbers drop, and the one that drops is going to be this one down here at the end, if this drops, then we will know that we don't have enough coal throughput. And this is slightly more than the total throughput of coal that we need. So this is simulating, what, 6,000, and we need 5,056. So this is burning an extra 1,000 coal, which is an insane amount of coal normally, but for the purposes of this factory is like, what, a sixth? It's not even that much. So if... We're not going to keep these running permanently, I think. We're going to turn these sinks off once we've figured out if this is functional or not. Which I should know just like by next stream, basically. So this is incoming 1462, which is currently not enough. All these guys are showing incoming values much less than we need. We have full boxes here, but I mean, those aren't going to last long, especially if they were never quite full to begin with. So if these incoming transfer rate numbers are correct, then we're in trouble, and we're going to need to add more trains onto the line. Otherwise, hopefully those numbers will go up once a train shows up to do something. Now I don't see any trains in the immediate vicinity. Let's see here. There is a coal train coming down from the closer one, and then probably up there is the further one. Okay, we might... If we run into problems where the two trains stop by like one after the other, then we might have to do something about that, which I guess would be setting them to only leave when they're emptied, which at this drain rate it should only make a difference of like not that much time in terms of speed. Like the only reason that would happen is if the other train is showing up directly on the tail of this one, which it doesn't look like is happening now, but they're on different length cycles, so it easily could in the future. And if that happens and everything is otherwise going correctly, then we're just going to have to hope that the overall throughput, the buffers are big enough to last while that gets sorted out. Which, if it does happen because the cycle's being different, it should only happen every so often. Like, they should drift in and out of being like that. Alright. here comes the other coal train, and actually here comes the oil train as well. That's fun. So this train is now waiting to leave, and as it does so, these guys are emptying super quickly. So this is showing incoming of 1163. These guys are up to like the mid-800s. And we should be getting even more coal in to boost that up, but it's not looking great. I mean, these are... Okay, these cars aren't quite full, but they're like at the point where they're technically full as far as the trains are concerned. So if the cars are full, that means that they're not transporting the entire output of their stations, which is a bit of a trouble. So the two ways of fixing that are add more trains, add more cars. We could make these stations like, I don't know, 8 cars long, and then each individual train would be able to carry twice as much per lap, which, I don't know, maybe it would work. Right now, these are showing up at 1527, and they're mostly filled. Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell at first, and let's see, which one of these... I mean, eventually, like, we're just going to have to spot one of these belts being completely empty. Because if it stops, like, the entire thing should shut down simultaneously. In our current configuration, we have them draining continually. But hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't, and we just keep getting enough coal to have everything going. Now, another thing which is messing with it is that there might be buffers in the source stations as well as the destination stations, which are causing the trains to transport full cargoes when they naturally wouldn't. And that's certainly possible. It's hard to say. I guess one way of telling would be to head up to the Midwest coal area and just see what's going on there. So this train is filled up to the brim. And it is going. Okay, that's just a random nitrogen train. Actually, how is the nitrogen going? I think we were worried we were going to have nitrogen problems. Yeah, this is going out as fast as it can. I'm going to have to deal with that at some point. But let's have that be in a little bit and not right now. Alright. That is Caterium, which I don't care about right now. We have to go a little bit further past it. And this one is our nearer coal source. Alright, so here we are. Now, are you... You are outgoing transfer rate 632 each. So 632, and this last one is 479 because it's all janky because of that mistake earlier. Now 632, 620, this is less than 660, which is an issue. And we can also just obviously see that these are filling up in between. So if this isn't outputting 660 even when the buffers are full and they're always transporting full trains, then that is going to be an issue. Now this one over here, weird stuff happening there. I think all these boxes are going to fill up pretty quickly. And yeah, I think we are going to need a second train here, which is fine. We have these stations designed for it. Now, can this actually... This should be able to take 2 trains at once, right? These are 4 rows. These are... They're 6 rows. So a second train coming immediately after the first might completely bottom out the station, even if it theoretically would be enough. Alright, so that is going, and now the station is taking all the coal. There we go. So that is going. And yeah, we cannot have 2 trains, one after the other, doing this. But we do need a second train in here. So the only way of doing that is we're going to have to give these guys settings. So this is... What is this called? This is... time... Crystal Coal Western 2, and you are going to Time Crystal Coal Midwest Coal, and you're staying at Midwest Coal until fully unloaded / unloaded, or wait 15 seconds. That's actually fine. Let's see here. I wish I knew which... Yeah, so let's have that. And then you can go off and do your thing. And you're not gonna... Wait, no. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Can I catch him? Can I catch him? I didn't put the cars on. I didn't put the cars on. It's faster than me. No. Alright, maybe if I, like, perfectly slide jump, I can catch up. Maybe it's like exactly the same speed. Oh, but it's slowing down. It's slowing down for signal. We can catch it. We can catch it. We're so close. We were so close. Come back. Okay, wait. We can cut it off at the corner. We can cut it off at the corner. No. Failed again. Okay, we're just gonna have to... And I lost my momentum, so it's gonna... Even with how hilariously roundabout his path is, I'm not going very quick. Alright. I got you. Alright, turn off self-driving. Alright, we have self-driving turned off. Now, I can give you freight cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. And you can start up again. There we go. A little bit of a mistake there. It's always fun to have. Now, how is this going? This is still running successfully, but it's still looking pretty rough on the last row. And why is this... Are you... Why are you sitting here? I didn't set... Yeah, okay. So you just sat there for a little bit for no apparent reason. I guess to just do one unload, despite the fact that there was nothing to unload. Okay, and if that one needs a second train, the other one is going to need a second train, so let's just build that out. 3, 4, 5. And you are Time Crystal Coal Central 2. So then you go from Central Coal to Time Crystal, and when you're at Central Coal, you wait for at least a little bit until you're fully loaded. And I did give you all of those first. So you're off. And now we just need to wait for the other trains to come around and give them the settings that'll cause them to wait in the station if they don't get fully filled, which shouldn't be a problem, except in weird circumstances, which, you never know when a weird circumstance is going to happen, so you got to be prepared for them. Alright, we have a train coming in here, and this is Time Crystal Coal Western 1. So we need to add that to you, and that's all. Have fun with that. And then here comes Time Crystal Coal Central, and we need to add the same thing to you. So edit, and while you're at Central Coal, wait until you're fully loaded or unloaded, or 15 seconds have passed, just to make sure you get, something, and you're not just completely wasting your time. Now, 15 seconds at, let's see, at 2,400 a minute divided by 4. So that would give it an extra 600 items, which is decent. Not a massive number, but it's a perfectly reasonable number. And I don't want to have them waiting around for longer than that. Why are you... Oh, you were waiting for a signal. Yeah, so the oil train has showed up. Why is the oil train still here? Did I... Oh, this guy is not successfully delivering oil. Alright, we're going to have to look into that, because this is unreasonable. Like, that is a straight up embarrassing amount of oil there. So we're going to need to look into whatever is going on with the oil. So I guess we're probably just going to need to add more oil supply, which won't be that hard. We've got... When I was scanning for alternatives for making the diamonds, I happened to see a good number of reasonable-ish oil supply spots. And then the problem would be if it's a train throughput issue, like the station at the distributor can't handle it, but that is probably not the issue. Alright, and the oil will be a job for next time. So, we are making progress. Our goal of synthetic power shards is pretty far away. So, no, it's not synthetic, it's just power shards. So we are currently working on the time crystals, both for the synthetic power shards and for like everything else that we want to do from then on. And once we have the synthetic power shards, the rest of this stuff is actually pretty simple. Like, okay, 600 quartz crystals is not trivial, but it's also manageable, right? I mean, it's like using the base recipe, it's like how much? 770 raw quartz. So that's like one good quartz node will do that. And then if we go back to power shards for a second, the dark matter crystals are secretly just like a couple more time crystals plus power. And the excited photonic matter is literally just power. You produce it for free in the converter. So once we get the time crystals done, we are going to have plenty of power shards. And I've heard people say in the past that one of the cool things about the power shards recipe is that it produces a lot of spare dark matter residue. So I think, and obviously you need that for other things. Now I don't know if we're going to deliberately use that, or if we're just going to, use like toggle between more and less efficient recipes to use it to output exactly the right amount. But like having spare dark matter crystals isn't bad. The problem with doing that is we would need to set up like an ionized fuel setup, which I'm going to want to do in some small quantities, I guess. But the reason we need that is because you can't sink power shards. So we would need to like make ionized fuel and then burn it for power in order to keep the flow running so we don't have our dark matter supply messed with. So we'll have to think about how we're managing that. For now though, the time crystals are relatively simple. I mean, it's going to take a lot of diamonds and a lot of summer sloops. But we have... I mean, once we get past this stage, and we're just going to time crystal production, there's only the one recipe, and it's just a 1-to-1. So we need to make a whole bunch of turbo fuel here, which we have sulfur down beneath us. We have the coal, obviously, and we will have oil once we fix that problem. And then we'll just make a significant chunk of turbo fuel, and then make the diamonds, make the time crystals, and then send some of those time crystals, though not all of them, into our synthetic power shard system, which... Does this area conveniently also have quartz? No, it doesn't. We can import them probably, or we can just drone port the time crystals. Yeah, drone porting the time crystals makes sense. They're going to be, for as much insane quantity of coal goes into them, there's not that many time crystals. They should be drone portable pretty easily, I think. Alright, anyways, that's enough rambling. I think we should be all clear to wrap up the stream now, so thanks everyone for hanging out. It's always a lot of fun playing Satisfactory. It's a very chill game, you know? Like, Factorio maybe has, like, more complicated, faster factory building, but I think Satisfactory is nice to be able to just sort of, like, calm down and, like, just spend a day doing one thing. So we are going to continue along with this. Tomorrow will be Factorio, where we are just continuing to mess around with space stuff and advancing science, you know, the usual Factorio space age stuff. And then we will be back to Satisfactory on Tuesday for more of this. We should be able to finish the time crystal factory on Tuesday and then at least get started on the power shards, if not finish them as well. I don't know. It shouldn't take too long to just get the quartz crystals set up and then figure out the dark matter shenanigans. So make sure to stop by then for that if you're interested in. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, playing factory building games. So I play Factorio on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Satisfactory on Tuesday and Thursday. So if you're interested in any of that sort of stuff, make sure to follow if you haven't already so you know when I'm live. If you're already following, thanks, it's really cool. And that is that. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you guys next time. Bye.